then we should. Yay, we're streaming. Um,
This this is such a small detail, but
yeah, yeah.
we're talking about Jazz Tools, and I don't have it on this. this,
Oh yeah, it's not
this
flying around there. We can fix that. We can fix that. So hey, I think we are live, but let me just get the link
okay.
to our chat, or link to the stream so that we can share it with folks. Da-da-da-da. Yeah, so I'll put the link to it into our Discord. So if you want to share that around, and then I'll put that screen
And
on so we can see there.
oh, there we go. Okay,
Cool.
cool.
So Ben's sharing the link for this around, which is cool. There is currently no one watching us, which is also a good thing for now, right?
Yeah.
And we can also cut this bit out if we wanted to, when we want to persist this after the fact. So it
Okay.
is all a good thing. So we can just take a minute to sort that out. Cool. I just went on it. I can hear myself, so I'm going to mute the YouTube so I don't hear myself again. So yeah. Fantastic. I'm drinking some tea. What are you drinking? You got some water going on?
Yeah, just a little
Oh,
bit of a like a hydrate drink, kind of like a Gatorade, but
cool. Gatorade is
yeah.
not a thing in the UK, so
Oh, I did not know that.
but I know what it is, and I've had it when I've been in the States. But yeah, it's not a thing here. Doop 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 doop. Cool. Well, I'm Kevin, and this is Ben over there. I guess. Yeah, there's Ben. That way.
Hi.
Hi, yay. And we together are building Local First Academy, where we want to help web developers and folks who are interested in web development be able to think about local first development as a first choice rather than oh, that sounds like an interesting idea, but I don't know how it links to my real life. And over in January, we did a 12 days of local first. We actually did 11. The 12th day was going to be a live stream, and life happened. But this could be counted as day 12 if we really wanted to stretch it. It's a bit far from when it went, but it feels a bit like it could fit in, right?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah, it kind of fits
So
in.
we're just extending the holiday season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we can. I feel like I should put a Santa hat on or something to be able to make us feel a bit better. But I've got this orange beanie on. It'll do the trick. So one of the things that when diving in local first can sometimes be a bit overwhelming is kind of how to get started, what to look at, how to build an application. And what we're going to try to have a look at today is a piece of software called Jazz.tools is the URL. And Jazz says it ships top tier apps at high tempo. Now, I was looking at this website yesterday. I'm not sure if you've been on the website in the past couple of days, Ben, but I was looking at this website yesterday. I kept clicking, and then this kept happening. I get these little flutter of hearts as I click around the
No.
page, and I imagine that is a Valentine's Easter egg. Is my guess, 'cause I don't remember it being on there
Yeah,
before.
that's no, I don't remember that.
No.
I also wasn't just clicking, but
Yeah, yeah,
but
but even when you're clicking up here, when you click any of the when you
oh
click up
right,
here,
right. Yeah, just
it does. That's where I
navigation.
noticed it. Yeah, when you click up there too.
Nice.
But yeah, so Jazz is what they class themselves as a local first development toolkit. And so I guess we were thinking, what would it be? What would it look like for us to try to build something with it, and so that we can help others learn how to do it and sort of have a think around it. So yeah, anything you want to say before we kick off, Ben? Or yeah, what are you thinking?
No, that's pretty much it. The idea is that we're with all the people we've talked to in the local first space, we just want to start building and putting out content in some way like this, or little tips to say, we know local first is good. A lot of the content currently seems high level academic. And so we just want to say, how do I get something done with local first? So that's what we hope to do today. And Jazz, from what we've looked at so far, and other leaders in the community have pointed us here to say this is a really good entry point into local first. So that's why we're wanting to start here.
So how would you summarize local first to someone who was kind of like I try to summarize it to my wife sometimes, who's not a developer, and so that's a whole nother thing. But to a developer, what would you say how would you describe local first to them?
So without much detail, I think I would say local first is a simpler way to build web apps.
Nice.
It's not, there are so many caveats to that, but simply it's the thing that pointed me and really caused me to go down the rabbit hole was a talk at the local first conf that I watched, the live stream from last year. I think it was Aaron Boudman's talk, and his talk was called Your Web App But Simple. Pretty sure that was the name of it. And he just showed the ability to write a query and show data, and everything is persisted. And that seemed to be the ideal way of developing to me. And so I was like, oh, okay, I'm interested. So
that's awesome.
Building, build web apps with simplicity. There we go.
Love it. And I think one of the things that we've noticed as we've sort of been exploring this community a bit to try to unpack it for Local First Academy is just that there are lots of tools around there, and a lot of them are solving like a sliver of the problem, either storage or sync or auth or some other piece around that. And what Jazz.tools tries to present itself as is kind of a toolkit that kind of does out everything you would need to do to be local first. And I quite like this summary from their website, which says, on the exactly what you were saying about how much more simple it is to think in a local first way, where it's really about sync and storage, where your data starts, where it's saved, we interact with it. And we can forget about a lot of the QRPC or gRPCs and lots of the complexities and just deal with local state that's instantly synced when it needs to be. And it's exciting. And I've played with it a little bit. In fact, one of the things that I got excited about, I was on their Discord recently and looking at their the Jazz.tools Vue support, because I'm a bit of a Vue geek, and they didn't have as much, but as of the 12th of February, so Wednesday, Guido from the Jazz team let me know that the new version 0.10.0 has added new auth options for Vue, so I'm excited about that. They're definitely working on it, which is cool. They've got lots of examples. So lots of local first frameworks leverage React first and foremost, because it's the biggest in the ecosystem for sure. Ben and I are both a bit dubious about React sometimes, probably more dubious than we should be, but I don't know. But we definitely...
I was going to say that might be also an important point, just for people entering into local first, as a lot of not local first tech seems to be kind of moving to this SSR, make the server, have the server back in as the primary way of loading data, progressive enhancement, like the way, server components, all that kind of stuff. Local first is the exact opposite. It's putting all the data on the client. So when they use React, it's because React is a heavy client a build tool or a framework library. And so I was going somewhere else with that, but the idea is that sounds bad initially because React is such a heavy client. That's how we have a lot of performance issues when building typical web apps with like server side rendering and all that kind of stuff. But by having the database in the browser and doing all that's subject for longer discussion, but by using the browser, using the platform, and using clients, we get this way of having great interactions in the browser and just building simple apps without having to manage the state like over the network. So you're just, like Kevin said, you're just writing like an app locally that looks to and uses queries against the local database.
Yeah.
And it feels really nice, but it's with all the other things that kind of come into play.
Yeah.
It handles all that background noise for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone, I can't remember who it was who we were chatting to, but someone said that you just deploy your prototypes. You build an MVP, and you just deploy your MVP, because your MVP works just the same way as your deployed application, because it's working with your local state and it's doing all those things, which is very cool.
I feel like that might have been Alex from the
It might be
from
Alex,
the Auto Merge team.
Yeah, it could have been for sure. So yeah, Auto Merge is another. There are lots of Ink and Switch are kind of a big kind of organization that have been their research lab, and they have been thinking a lot about local first for a long time now. And we've been lucky enough to have lots of interesting conversations with folks on that team, particularly Alex, who's been working on Auto Merge, which is down here. Yay. And Auto Merge is a library for building local first software. And one of the things with Auto Merge is really cool, but it's very low level in some ways and quite a lot of complexity to be able to build with it. And I think that's going to change over time. But other libraries are sort of wrapping around Auto Merge in order to be able to give us sort of nicer primitives for us to play with and be able to explore. And the hope is that as we dive into building something with Jazz, that that ease of building, that ease of complexity, or that complexity is offloaded by them in some ways. Yeah. So I guess we should write some code and have a look around. Does that sound like a good plan?
It sounds good. Let's do it.
If I drive and you can shout at me, as it goes wrong, does that sound okay? And then we can next time we play together, we can swap roles.
I'll be the backseat driver.
That's always good. I like a good backseat driver for sure. Fantastic. So, where are we? Create new. Okay, so so quick start. We can grab this command npx create Jazz app at latest. So let's do that. It pulls up a nice little wizard. Oh, they've bumped the version, so that's why I need to install it. So what are we going to do? We're going to do React Native, Svelte, or Vue. What do you reckon?
Let's do, since you're leading, we should probably do Vue.
I would do Vue. Okay, cool. And they've got the demo auth project, and I'll use PNPM. And what we call this, we can call it like streaming project. Yeah. Although we're not going to use streams, but we might, but we're more that we are live streaming. Probably slightly more accurate. So it's going to fetch some dependencies, and we can then open it up and get started. Just having a think. Can't see my terminal prompt yet. Come on. My terminal is having a bit of a rest. So while that does that, I will go in sort of through the back door, as it were. Oh, it did finish finally. And I will open up the streaming project in my code editor. Are you a VS Code user like I am at the moment, or what do you find yourself in, Ben?
Currently, I'm on the cursor train.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a nice. People are kind of all over the board with cursor. Some it's all their code is cursor. I kind of use it to instruct me, like if I need some help me along, and then correct it where I know it's wrong.
That's fair. Oh yeah, I had this problem when I did this here. So I just tried to run it, and it's telling me that I'm missing some types for node 20. So I'm just going to pm add those types, and I think it
Okay.
should run after that. Yes. So I had that when I was playing around before. And so what we get with their sample app is this. So you can see I've actually, because I'm on the same port number as I was when I was playing with this previously, it already has me logged in.
Ah,
So I can log out. I can log in as Kevin or Kevin2. You see, I'm very imaginative. Kevin or Kevin2. I can add some folders. So live stream in here, and that'll create a folder somehow. It's not being very responsive. And then we've installed Jazz, and again, it's not being super responsive. I wonder if I need, there we go. It's now got some data. Let's try again. So live stream, let's create that, brilliant. And then we've installed Jazz. We'll explore the project, and we'll try to, think about adding some functionality, add or change functionality. So that is being stored. If we have a look at our developer tools, so that is being stored in a IndexedDB instance. Jazz storage, IndexedDB, and it has a number of bits and pieces going on here. So it's got some sessions for different sessions that have been logged in. It's got transactions, and it's got some of the values. These co-values are kind of one of their basic units of change, I think. So it's like you have co-strings and co-arrays and a couple other bits and pieces, which are their kind of thing that gets changed. But when something's in here, it's the actual data is quite hard. It's not easy to parse. It's all encoded. So and that's just true with a lot of these libraries, is that we're kind of not expecting to be able to just find the words install Jazz or explore the project somewhere in the IndexedDB. But the IndexedDB is persisting that data over time. So when I refresh this page, that data is all there. If I was to go offline, so if I was to turn this offline somehow, here, and then refresh the page, now this is an offline mode, so I do have the same access to all of the website, so to exactly what I was doing before, but it's all coming through from the cached versions here, so nothing's being sent or blocked because I'm offline. So we have out of the box, we got offline first, which is great. We have no throttling. We have this, what they call their demo auth, which is what it ships with, and we can have a look at what's going on there with that. It's kind of basically anyone can log in as anyone, so I can sort of log in as Ben and sign up. Ben has his own instance of the whole database. I can log out, and then I can log back in as Kevin, and I should have all of the data that I have for Kevin. So different users can have different data sets on the same web page, and it's going to be there. But there's no passwords or anything. There's no kind of authentication in that kind of sense. But there is sort of different users. So we log out and log Ben back in again. Ben has his own sort of instance of the data going on.
And this was using their out of the box like auth setup.
Okay. Yes, exactly. This is called their demo auth. So if we just see the where that's being done in their main.ts, is it? Yeah. So what we've got, this field. So it's interesting the way they've done this. This is H. It's not one way. It's a bit like React's create component thing, where you can actually do it from code. So effectively, it's creating a provider, which is wrapping and which has then got the component, the props coming to that component, and then any children, which again is now rendering another thing, which is the auth, which is inside the provider. We have that going on in here. Providers aren't really a thing that we talk about in Vue very often, but because I presume because it was a port from React,
Right.
we'll see a lot
Yeah.
of the similar kind of concepts and language that are going on there as well. And then right in the middle here, it's rendering the application itself in the middle. So yeah, we can definitely see that that would be, if we're thinking in JSX, we definitely are talking about having a like a Jazz provider with the app in the middle, and then that's the
Yeah.
structure. That's the structure that's actually going on inside of the application. So that kind of makes sense. So we can just have a look at each of these in turn. Maybe the Jazz provider, just to see what that's doing. Have like the demo auth and then the app, and then see. So does that sound like
Okay.
a good way forward?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Sounds good.
Let's have a look at the Jazz provider. Now, it's maybe a bit too much for us. We may just go, oh, that's interesting. We can come back and find out more about that at some later point. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can have a look to see what's going on. And maybe like we switch over to Vue or React because we understand that a bit more. So this is the types for it. We can see that the provider has like things it's providing: guest mode, sync, a schema, some storage. As far as I understand it, Jazz leans heavily into defining the schema and then everything being derived from the schema. All of the things are being shared and everything that's going around. So we can explore that a bit more, I hope. Some things about on logout. Okay, so yeah, it's storing lots of information we'd expect about authentication, where things are being stored, either IndexedDB or single tab OPFS. Don't know what that is. I've never done anything with
Okay.
that, but yeah, I've heard of OPFS, but I haven't heard of single tab OPFS. Have you?
I haven't. I don't know if that's something to do with like if you have multiple tabs open.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
isolated by tab. Yeah, that could be it for
Yeah.
sure. So the provider is providing a whole load of stuff. Then we have this demo basic auth thingy, which is being, come on. I want to go back the other way. Go to definition. That's not helpful, is it? Go to definition. Sorry, I'm struggling now to get to the right spot. So the demo basic auth, just bringing me backwards and backwards. So if I just, let's go to, so garden.co or Garden Computing are the company that are, that build Jazz. So we just have a look inside, and Guido is the guy I was talking about who's saying that the newest version has GitHub's overlays getting in the way. So we're in the Jazz View tools, or was it Jazz tools or Jazz View? I thought it was Jazz View. And so now the basic demo off was the thing that was kind of that we saw. You got the option to log in. So we've got an input where you can add your display name, you can sign up, and then if there are other offs, if there are existing users, it's going to say, do you want to log in as? So that's what we're getting here.
Okay.
So that's what this is. So this is this page. So Jazz View to do is from the name of the application. Then this display name that's coming, that should say display name, placeholder display name. So that's coming from there. We've got a sign up button. And this is just the markup. So we will also have a script tag somewhere here, which is going to respond to that. So it's using a what you would call a hook and what Vue people call composables to be able to see what's going on. So the auth is using that hook or just composable username. So this is equivalent to React's use state effectively. So it's a reactive value. Dark mode fine, handle submit, auth.value.signup. So sign up must come from this hook that's going to be on there. So jump in there and then we can add some stuff in a sec. So use demo auth. It's going to use the context. So that feels very, very reacty. Yeah, okay, we know what's happening. It's using some and that's why it has to be inside the provider. And then using auth secret storage. It's got some auth method is being computed in some way from the demo auth. Existing users is authenticated. And then it's returning this login method, this sign up method, a list of the existing users, and the state, whether or not it's signed in or anonymous.
Okay.
Interesting. So, they have other. So they have now a pass key auth,
Uh-huh.
which is like the what your browser can do. So either with normally with like a
Authenticator app.
authenticator app or a like like one password do it internally as well.
Right.
So an app like that. So there's lots of options for auth. What would be it's interesting. So it's happened a few times. So it's interesting when I log in, it looks like I've got no data because it's an anonymous
You have to
user. But if I
refresh.
refresh the page, it then works out I'm logged in and I'm ready to go. So there's obviously some bug going on there, but we can maybe have a look at that. So the auth is kind of there out of the box. I guess what would be cool to know a little bit more is kind of the syncy stuff, is like how this data is being handled, and see if we can do something interesting with that. Does that sound? What do you reckon?
Yeah, yeah. I think because it sync is set up.
Yeah,
I know with that provider you showed, I think it had a URL
yeah,
for sync. So maybe how
yeah. So sync is happening with this WebSocket to cloud.jazz.tools.com or
okay,
.jazz.tools rather. And while they're in sort of beta at the moment, this is like pretty free. So it's they're lifted during public alpha. So it got unlimited users, unlimited storage, and unlimited egress. But persistently, they want to have like they're saying they'll offer 100 free users, 10 gigabits of storage, and 2 gigabits of egress, which is pretty impressive. And then for $19 after that, it gets up to 10,000 users. 199, it gets up to something else. So this is free, but you can also, as I understand it, this Jazz server, you're able to create your own of those as well. You're able to
yeah,
host that yourself, and all this is doing is it is syncing over the cloud, and it's the data starts in that IndexedDB instance, but is also being synced externally as well. So so the sync
okay.
is being handled through that. Um, so da, da, da.
So when you create an item in your online, obviously that puts it locally, and it probably kind of immediately syncs
Yeah.
remotely.
So do something else. I add this. No, it's interesting. It's not coming up here, but that could be because there's a WebSocket instance that's open. So I refresh this. So yeah, so there is a. Is this So here's their
And by the way,
our
our
faces are in the way. Let me
yeah,
move. See if I can move I've moved me up. Let's move our faces up here, or at least over here. Maybe over here for now. So this is what's going on in the WebSocket. So we can see it's pinging every sort of couple of seconds to see if there's new data going on there. Let me add another thing. And yeah, so that then has sent an action with a load with presumably again this is the encoded version of the data that I'm not sure whether or not if I'll be able to decode another thing anywhere along here, or if it's going to be I think it's encoded
yeah,
in some way. So it has that data in there, but it's not in a human readable format. It's in some kind of
okay,
encoded there. But then it's continuing to ping in case there's other data that then it wants to sync locally to go on there.
okay. And I
What?
assume, and we
Mhm,
might not have an answer to this question. This is something that's come up
mhm,
occasionally. Is like, how expensive is it to always be polling, or
mm,
pinging the so
yeah.
like if it's just sitting idle.
Mhm,
Um, but I'm sure you could probably pass some level of flag to say, you know,
yeah.
change the interval of that. But
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It is pulling a lot, and that's not helpful. It is pulling a lot, and yeah, it looks like it's pulling every 2 seconds. If I'm
okay,
if I'm not if I'm counting it badly, have to refresh it in order to get access to the WebSocket. So doop de doop de doo. If we look at the responses here, so yeah, so what's that? 19 seconds, 20 seconds, 23 seconds, 25 seconds. So it's polling, and because I'm in Belfast and it's polling from London. So yeah, so it's there. I wonder. What I don't know is how I can get you in here. It'd be great to allow you to access, like, pretend to be me, or come and have a look here. But I don't know yet how to do that. That's so a kind of outstanding questions I have at the moment is, yeah, can I let you in here? And we've done that before with other
Yeah.
applications by using tools like ngrok.
Hmm.
But I think I had a bit of an issue with this. So I ngroked HTTP 5173. My guess is you're going to get if you try to connect to this. Let me send you this URL over Discord. My guess is if you try to connect to this, you're going to get something about my Vite config, which I couldn't, which was an error I got previously somehow, but I haven't been able to fix it. Yeah, block request. Are you getting the same request, same thing?
Yeah, block request.
Yeah. So it
Need
says,
to add something.
yeah. So what I thought,
Server.allowed hosts and vite config.
yeah. So I'm in vconfig, and yeah, I guess I didn't really know where to add this. So I was thinking, okay, server, allowed hosts, and I could stick all in there maybe. What's that saying? It says allowed hosts. Types. Oh, it says an array of string. Okay, so an array of strings and localhost and ngrok.io. And then why are you shouting? Okay, I haven't closed that. Okay, let me stop my server, restart it, and then refresh now. Yeah. Okay, that's still not working for me. If I try to add the whole of the string rather than just try that now. Oh, okay, that did work for me that time.
Oh, yeah, it's working for me too.
Fantastic. Okay, so all of my data is not going to be there because it's by URL, and so my localhost 5173 isn't going to remember, isn't going to be passed in. So if I try to be Kevin here and sign up and add sort of streaming and stuff, and you can log in on your end and do some whatever you'd like to do as you play around with that. My guess is if I refresh this, I was hoping we'd be able to see each other's names. I think I broke it on my side. Kevin 1 something log out. Okay, I can see my original thing. It's there, but I can't see you, and I'm guessing you can't see my ones.
No, I can't.
Okay.
But it removed my name, I think.
Yeah, but you can interact with the application, though. You're able to kind of use the application.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you use the application. All the data is stored on your local machine, and is synced in some way up to the server. So it'd be interesting to find out a bit more about how that's working and what I've done to break this. That it's not doing exactly what we'd like it to do. But right, I'm going to do Kevin 3 now, because there's definitely a bug here. If I log, I can see all the other Kevins. They're definitely there. We've got those things. Okay, right, we've got stuff. We have stuff. We got stuff. Yay. And we've got our servers working out, and we're doing okay. I guess I'd be curious about the how we change stuff, or how the what's actually happening under the hood or what's happening to be able to, when I click this, like what's actually like being triggered. It'd be interesting to explore that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What kind of event is it sending? What
yeah,
the yeah.
yeah. So let's have a look. So what we got? We've got a to-do container, and so template. So the way Vue component files we've got, and it's similar to Svelte, I think. We have We have the HTML, the JavaScript, and the styling can all be in a single file. So a single file component. Template is going to be the HTML. Script will be the JavaScript and or TypeScript, and the style will be CSS. So all that's kind of similar here. So we have our container, which got some folders, and our header, which has got our folders, which has the input for new folder names. That's where we are here, and a button. An at click is a similar to on click in React. So it triggers this create folder, but this create folder function. Fine, that kind of makes sense, I guess. V4, so this is looping over folders and folder, and for each of them you get a copy of this div. So every folder then, default articles to read and live stream. These are all different folders, and for each of them they get a folder name, they get a button for delete, and they also will have an on-click handler themselves, which is the select folder. So that's how we're getting each of those going on. And then the folder themselves, we have our, if there is a selected folder, we show this. The name of the folder is up there, live stream, articles to read, default. New to do, we add a new task, fine, with the add button, which is create to do. Okay, so like there's nothing like that feels just like normal client code we'd write. There's nothing that feels very local firsty or like that feels, you could write that in React, you could write that in Vue, you could write that in Svelte. There's nothing feels different from that. It's we're doing something with the data, right? Do you feel similarly?
Yeah. So then we would have to look at like how it's sending the to do.
That's where the fun's going to be. But I guess I guess my what I feel encouraged by is that the actual HTML side or the templating side, there's nothing new really. It's kind of like if you are a web developer working in React or Vue or wherever you're working in, you actually already have the skills to build a local first template already. There's nothing new there, which feels pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not there's no learning curve here. There's no
or
there's a
there's a learning curve to framework.
Things, but
yeah. I think when we get into as we get into the script is where this is where where it's going to feel different. So we can explore this a little bit. So we've got Jazz.tools, Jazz Vue, stuff from Vue, and then the schema. And so, as I said, as I understand it, schema is where this is what Jazz talk about as sort of their sort of fundamental source of truth. You start from the schema, and you kind of use that to build things out from it. So, and they've got these sort of basics. CO, I think that stands for collaborative, but I could be completely off base there. But it's the CO map and the CO CO map. So they're collaborative versions. Yeah, so CO stands for collaborative. So map is like an object, list is an array, and CO is just their normal is just a collaborative helper kind of big like chunky class that they have here ready to go. Okay. So a to-do list or a to-do item is an object and has a name, which is a string, and a completed, which is a boolean. And for each of them, there's co.strings and co.booleans, which is allows the kind of CRDT-ness, the kind of collaboration stuff, rather than being plain objects or plain strings or plain booleans. They're sort of special collaborative versions of those. Is what I understand that to be.
Okay.
So CO, boolean. Let's see if I can find that. And then, so yeah, a list, to do list is a list of references to do items.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I think, and then so folders follow that same kind of pattern. And then the account has a profile. I don't know what this is. Profile, is that coming? That comes from Jazz.tools. I don't know what that is. A root, which is this to do account, and then some migration rules for if there's if there's not a if there isn't a root, what how to create the root. So you should create an example to do in a default list, and do that ready to go. So this migrate method will be called, I don't know when it starts, I guess. When
Oh,
it's
right.
going.
Either on account creation,
I
probably.
think so. Yeah, that would seem to make sense when it's inside of the account. Yeah, on account creation. I think you're exactly right. Um, account. Can we see account anywhere on here? It comes from. Where's account coming from? It's coming from Jazz Tools. Jazz Tools. Oh no. Can I
Oh,
find?
there it is
Oh,
under identity and permissions.
identity and permissions account. And it has load, subscribe, but we're interested in, oh, migrate wasn't listed there. Interesting. Account, load, interesting. So much of this is undocumented yet. Subscribe, ensure loaded, wait for sync. Let me find the migrate method. And again, it's undocumented, unfortunately. Okay, but I'm pretty. It feels like that's what's going to be called when this migrate method is going to be called when the account is created. But yeah, it's not. And that's also interesting because what it's not doing is it's not reaching out for the data if it didn't exist locally. So I wonder if this is where, is this where we add logic, add, like to get the sync data, to get the data from the sync server if it's there already. I don't know. It's a
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Huh.
We're definitely learning this. So we got our schema, which has all those bits, and then we start to create some stuff. So we're getting me from use account hook or composable, sorry. But yeah, so that makes sense, I guess. So we're assuming they're logged in. We're getting me, and we could probably console log me so that we can kind of see what's console log. Console log me. We can have a look to see what me is in the midst of that. So me is this object, and its value. What do we got? So we got me.value. Sorry, come on, go away. So it's hard for me to get to what it is. Okay, so I've got the ID, the account type. Our heads are in the way again, sorry. Our ID, the account type, the session ID. So we have an ID to identify the user. So this is what's included in me at the moment. But there, presumably we can, if we needed to or wanted to, we could enrich that object in some kind of way. So let's see, we're again saying the computed folders ID value.root.folders.id if it's there. So value.root. I can't see where that is going to be. Let's grab it. We just grab all this and see what we get. So we can then say console log our computed folders ID value. So we get this value for our folders ID, which is going to be used somewhere presumably. Use co-state. So use collaborative state. What of the folders list? What folder? And then this is like the if it doesn't exist already, this is what to initialize it as. So initialize it as an array of an object with a key of items with an array which just has a single empty object inside of it. So that kind of makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. That
Then
makes
this is
sense.
our use state. So this is the, hey, we want a selected folder should link to a folder. The new folder name should be an empty string, and the new folder to do title should be an empty string. So this is this is exactly the same as like use state of type folder and initialize it as null. So that's just kind of exactly sort of a similar kind of thing that we might be, I probably would want to say or null there, but yeah, that's the same kind of thing that's going on there. So then we're watching. So this is like a use effect almost. So we're watching the folders. As the folders change, we'll then update them to see what's going on. Selecting that select folder function is going to set the selected folder value to be the folder that was clicked. The create folder will trim the white space. We'll then create a new group, a new folder, and push it in. Okay.
What is the group?
Yeah, so group, that seemed to come from Jazz.tools. So class group is here. And it's currently not, says it's not documented, but let's see if it is documented somewhere else. Is Command K a thing? Nope. Control K? Nope.
Wonder if it's just a generic kind of resource that's attached to an ID or something.
I think it's under this identity and permission section. So we've got account is controlled account and group. But there's not a lot of this still says undocumented in the API reference. So
Okay.
I'd be guessing. And yeah, maybe we
Yeah.
can, yeah. But it's interesting. It's an interesting thing for us to go to like it's a question that we have, and it'd be great to kind
Yeah.
of like come up with a glossary or something, like even just a like a documented version of this file, like or an annotated version of this file that then linked out to go, and it's similar for the React thing as well. It's like, hey, this is what's going on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so presumably this is creating a new group with me as its owner, and the folder is created and passes the owner, which is a group. Presumably, like the benefit of creating it with the owner being a group rather than an individual is I can share it later on, and so it doesn't have a single user. So I think it's like a container of users rather than have it. So yeah, I imagine it's for RBAC or some kind of future sharingness. If I wanted to share my folder, I don't have to make you the owner of it. I can just invite you into the group that I own and share it that way,
Okay. Yep.
which is similar to how Beehive is working in the the
Auto
Automerge or Ink and Switch are kind of working on. They're similarly doing a similar thing where they talk about having a what they call transitive groups. They have a group that you can invite people into, and that can work for your devices or different devices or for different individuals being able to do this. So this feels similar, but
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
but undocumented. So we're guessing as we kind of explore this a little bit. Creating a to do, same thing. So we're creating a group. And it's interesting that we create a group every time. Like, does that mean that every to do, it looks like every to do has a separate group? It feels extreme. I feel like there should be like a group for the session or something, or
I wonder if it's like
a singleton.
I'm
Like if it's
thinking,
already there, then we get it back again.
yeah, or maybe even thinking like in collaboration if it's
Hmm.
I know to-dos are a bit contrived for
Hmm.
collaboration, but like if you had a say it was a canvas,
Yeah.
each canvas would have a group, so it could be collaborative to that group,
Hmm.
or and then you would create one for each different canvas or each different chat room, or like
Yeah.
I think doing it for to-dos, you're right. I feel like it's a bit overkill, but
Yeah.
but but I think maybe it's the collaborative core, I guess, is the
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. So I think what's interesting as I look down and think about the crudness of this, what feels interesting to me is that for things like toggle to do, we're really just doing, we're just changing to the to do itself. And because it's a sort of a reactive value, that is triggering the state change. So if we look at the network, if we look at the network tab again and like get to the, I think I can, as I, yeah, so as I trigger the change in state here, where I'm changing here, we get these green events that are being
Yeah.
sent off to the sync server. Now the code I write is just change the
Yeah.
completed state to be inverted.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and Jazz.tools is handling updating my local store and updating the sync server. So it feels like that feels pretty powerful.
Yeah. That feels like you're just writing to, like, every to do or every starting tutorial with to
Yeah,
dos typically is just like to a state variable.
yeah,
But if you refresh, it goes away. But here, if you refresh, that would be persisted. Yeah,
yeah,
because it's technically in the database now.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And what we're not having to do with toggle to do is we're not having to complete, change its state, push it to the server, check it effectively went to the server, maybe have some kind of optimistic updates locally while we're waiting for the server to get back to us to tell us that the persistence of the database happened properly, and then like roll back if it didn't, and all of those things. Because we're taking the network out of the loop here, and that's happening somewhere else. That syncing's happening somewhere else. We have, I don't know, some kind of what we do feels a lot simpler, a lot more transparent
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. If I could go back and revise you asked me at the beginning, what is how would you explain local first to a developer?
Yeah,
I would say imagine developing without the network.
yeah,
That was,
yeah,
it would be an idealistic question,
yeah.
but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
No, for sure, for sure. Imagine developing without network. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And like once like there's this complexity about this group thing and this item.create. Like I don't understand. I don't know understand that. I feel like that's an open question to me. But that's But the other stuff like editing, delete. Can you edit? You don't think you can edit the to dos themselves, so that's the only change. But the creation, this group thing, um, everything else feels pretty like not
Yeah.
new, not kind of so if we
We
wanted
could,
to, yeah,
you might have been about to say this. I was going to say we could try to, like, just quickly show, like, all this is kind of out of the box. Like, if we just wanted to show, say we want to edit the to do, like,
yeah,
rather than just the completed, just
love it,
edit the,
yeah,
that could be a,
that's a big cool fun. Okay, so let's think about how we do that. So that's in our to-do list. We have our to-do at the moment. It's just a span. So what we could do, what would be the easiest thing we could do, I guess, is we could make it. What would be your, if you click on it, that it should turn into something, shouldn't it? Maybe it's if I so if I click on it at the moment, it's counting as
just toggling the
it's
whole
toggling
thing.
the to do. So the where's
I
the
guess, yeah,
click?
maybe we could just, I mean, it's maybe more cumbersome, but beside the delete button, you could add an edit button
Yep.
that would turn the span into a input.
So let's do edit to do. Let's stick edit here. And we've got our edit to do. Looks really ugly.
You can just remove delete for now if we want, just to,
Yeah, just to oop, let's get rid of that. Let's go edit,
there.
and so we could say for to do the key is ID. Um, do, 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 for now, we could just be really lazy. for now, what we'll do is we'll say if you click edit, they all turn into inputs immediate, and that, or they all
Okay.
rather than so you click edit, we'll turn them all into inputs. So we'll say we'll create some kind of ref value. So we'll say is edit mode, and we'll ref that to be false, and we'll say where are we? Great. So we'll say if is edit mode. Sorry, I'm thinking React. Sorry.
I was like, wow, this looks really, really like.
Yeah. I'm thinking too much React here. So I'll say so I'll do one above this. I'll say v if is edit mode. Then this is where we're going to be put our we'll put our and then v else.
Right.
Then we say v else. So what we want then, our input now should be of, we'll keep our checkbox. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll get rid of our checkboxes. And we'll make this an input then of type, of just normal input. And its initial value will be or we'll bind the value to do dot name and so what we want now, what was the button? What did I say? Edit to do. And actually I'll just call it edit to do use. And we'll just say const edit to do's invert the value. So hopefully, okay, so we've just made it turn now into, and they're all turned into text boxes. So now what we want to do is what do we want to do? So at the moment they are updating. Oh, it's not going to be as easy as that, is it? If I just do this, because I've bound it to the value here. If I do this, if I do example to do number 4. No, okay. I was wondering. So I was like, that would have been super cool, but it's not. Okay, so what do we want to do? We want to
probably just have some sort of save.
Yeah. So maybe when we did that edit button here. So it's the same thing. So we say if it's create that button, and we'll have a so v if is edit mode. We'll change this into save, and then v else. Okay, so it says save now. Okay, so we need to decide what we do with save. So save, we will save to do, save to do, and then we'll to do .id. And maybe, yeah, let's see what we got here. For now then, let's see what we got. So const save to do. Going to receive the to do ID. Ooh. And for now, let's just console log the to do ID just to check we're getting the right thing. Okay. So we add it here, and we then save this. We should get an ID printed out. We do. Okay. So we want to do that, and then we also want to turn off the edit mode, so the edit to do's function. So here we click save, we get an ID, and it's back out of the mode. Okay. So what we want at that point is we want to update the to do with that particular ID. So how do I do that? here. So, oh, they passed in the whole to do in here. That's probably easier, actually. Just pass in the whole to do.
Oh yeah, and then just alter the
Yeah.
text.
Okay. So let's change that. So rather than passing in the ID here, let's pass in the whole to do. And
Yeah, 'cause I guess we're still thinking typical.
yeah,
Get the to do ID, map over to dos.
yeah,
Yeah, like yeah.
yeah. So we get that to do, and now it's shouting at me because save to do. So this is now wants to be the whole to do. To say to do item. And so let's just print that out to see what we get. So edit to do. Okay, so we get the whole item. Actually, we should, if we print out the dot value, we're going to get something closer to what we're expecting. So, oh, we're not apparently. Okay, so if not to do return. I guess my question now is,
That's the proper.
yeah, because do we need to pass it the
Name to do dot
name?
name.
Yeah, but that should be attached. I guess I don't understand why. And that should be question mark. Let's do that. We've lost our function. Sorry, it's so messy. Lost it. Save to do, and then new name, which would be a string, I'm hoping. And then for now,
Oh yeah.
Console log. Oops. It's console log the to do and the new name, and see what we get. So example to do 4. If I save that, see, it's giving me the current name rather than the value of the value of
needs,
I need that.
Do we need another state variable for that input?
Yeah, so yeah, but we don't know which one we're changing because we're changing them all.
Oh yeah.
Because I thought we're being lazy, but maybe made our lives more complicated.
Maybe just on toggle to do. Maybe all we do is just do the to do that one to do rather than all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So how about where's the input for? So input for here, we want to say like on change. Let's do on change update data, and so we'll just be a bit of a late. This is like really bad. We shouldn't do this, but it's okay. Update data, update state. Ref is going to be an empty string, and we'll have a function called update data, which is going to take the event and it's going to update state to be that, and then we'll just check that does what I'm expecting to do. Example value is not doing what I was expecting. Oh, it did. Okay, but it was just debounced. Okay, so it did do that. Okay, so alrighty. So now we don't need this anymore. Over here we're going to say to do dot item or dot name is going to equal update state dot value, and then we'll turn off the edit mode. So right, so if I do update to do example to do, not an example to do, we try to save this.
Real.
Yay! So it did do the job. So
Nice.
Other thing. The only thing, basically the problem is that don't do something. The problem we have, don't do something, is that it's only keeping track of one update. So although I've changed this and this, when I click save, this one's going to be fine, but that one's not going to get changed. And so
right.
it's just going to change the one that we're there. But it's that's why it's a bit janky, but it's kind of doing the right thing. But yeah, so I guess the interesting thing is that if I refresh the page, those changes have been persisted. They've been persisted over on our heads are in the way. Annoyingly, sorry. Those changes have been persisted, both locally and backwards over the thing. But in terms of what we've actually written, we're
Yeah.
just updating the state.
We didn't have to send it on the request body to
No.
a server and then take that, read it, do some
Yeah.
try catch logic, put it into the database.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So that feels very cool.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm going away as we sort of bring into land. I guess what I'm thinking about next is like I get that it's now local first on my machine. How can I get someone else on to use this data? And presumably that's what the sync server's for, and presumably that's going to be helpful. So I'd like my sort of that's on my outstanding. Let's pull up. I'm going to create. Let's create together a list of outstanding questions that we want to be able to.
Yeah.
We want to be able to explore. So I guess my outstanding questions. So, like, how can we use the same app and share data? Like, so at the moment, I don't know how I would invite you into this application to be able to see my
Yeah.
data rather than use the application just to do what you would want to do with it.
Yeah. It's
What other
probably going to be
questions?
some URLs. I think we have.
Yeah, I imagine like
Where we
in
went. Yeah.
yeah, auto merge does it with the like the URL hash, but I wonder like the whole login. The whole login is probably part of the challenge there. So we're using a demo login rather than one of the others. So maybe there's something over there.
Yeah.
I guess I'm confused about
Groups.
groups and account and why does every like thing dot create need a new group?
Yeah.
And what does that mean? What other questions do we have? The and the person there, I think we've got one person in the chat who might be able to help. Have they got any
Yeah.
outstanding
Yeah.
questions as well?
Yeah.
How's our what delay? Yeah, so I guess I would like to the sync server like is can we host our own? How do we do that? And like what's being your question about like how expensive is the 2 second ping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we
Oh
control
yeah, can that be
the
configured? Yeah,
frequency? Yeah.
configured. Less frequent things. And I guess I'm curious,
Do
like
we even want
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
like if we were talking to someone who is working on Jazz.tools, would they say we like is it so inexpensive? Is it so cheap these days with servers? Kind of,
Yeah.
I'm thinking Cloudflare with all of their edge infrastructure. If
Yeah.
that's what these sync servers are running on, is it so cheap that it
Yeah.
doesn't matter?
Yeah. Yeah, it could be it for that could definitely be it.
Sorry,
But yeah.
you were about to say that.
I think no, I think that was kind of I think I was thinking similarly is the cost. I think my other thing is like what are we getting from that ping? Like what are we is it the it seems like it's downstream, so the server's checking we're still there. And yeah, that feels if it doesn't have any data for us, why is it? Well, yeah, I don't know. Like, why are we pinging so often?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that kind of thing going on there? So I guess we would love to be able to build something with this. So what's stopping us being able to build our card game with this at the moment?
Yeah, the biggest problem, like as far as the collaboration goes, was, I mean, the collaboration, not being able to like see
Yeah.
each other's
We
edited.
see each other's changes. Yeah.
Um,
And that, I feel like that's probably going to be pretty trivial, but we maybe are missing something. But
yeah,
that's good that we can kind of, if we're missing it, having A, knowing a bit of stuff about local first, and B, being developers, then we're not the only people who are going to miss this. So if we
right.
can find it and work out what's going on. I love that. I think what's interesting is auth is such a hard thing in local first, and they're obviously leaning a lot into showing us different ways to do auth. But I think the
Yeah,
drawback of that at the moment is that it's obscuring how to do maybe some of the other things that would be helpful for us to be able to explore. Um,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So next
Yeah,
time, yeah. So next time we're hopefully going to be able to answer these questions and actually build something. Do you feel like we've learned something? Do you feel like we feel a bit more?
yeah. I feel like, I mean, I think this just shows like, but you mentioned the card game, like
Mm,
part of it, there are like these questions, but at the same time, I don't necessarily feel like these are in the way.
yeah,
Like, we can, because the
this one
nice part
is.
about like the card game idea
Yeah,
was it's like there's parts of it you can do on your own.
yeah,
So like you can still get started, but yeah, that one's definitely like bottlenecking like the
yeah,
full, like if we're gonna play like poker against
yeah,
each other,
yeah,
like so
yeah. So next time we're together, um, we will like hopefully have answers to these questions. But I think we
yeah,
should start building our. I think we should start building our card game next time.
yeah. And I think so, and maybe to that point, I think the nice part about local first is like it gives you like the ability to choose, make more like design decisions, I feel
Mm,
like, rather
mm-hmm.
than like the necessary decisions around the network that we were talking about. So
Yeah,
when we talked about building our card game, like I was gonna joke, but we get to fight over view or react.
yeah,
Like we're
yeah,
not
yeah,
not over
yeah,
structure or anything.
yeah.
Um, maybe we'll play paper rock scissors to.
Yeah, 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 definitely. Yeah. Or we could go to Svelte because yeah, it's kind of
That's
a
true.
nice middle ground. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Sweet
yeah.
man.
I think that's
So
what
we
we
should
get to
bring
do.
this into land. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's been and for yeah, it's been
Yeah.
hopefully been helpful.
Thanks for driving. Let me
Not
be a
all.
backseat driver.
You can drive next time. Now I can enjoy being a backseat driver for that.
Okay.
And yeah, if anyone else if anyone sees this or watches this and fancies like giving us some help or some ideas, then feel free to reach out for us. We're available at localfirstacademy.com. I'm Kevin Cunningham and I'm dolearning.dev. And that's Ben. And he is
Yeah. I'm
Ben
Ben.
Patton.
I'm just
BenPatton.com or Ben Patton? I don't, what's your Ben?
I think it's
Ben
benapatton.com
A
on the
Patton.
Blue
Oh,
Sky.
you're so cool. BenAPatton.com.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Ben Patton was taken. So
Oh, so rude, so rude.
apparently there's too many of those
Too many of
apparently in the
those.
world. So.
Oh no, no, there's never enough Ben Pattons in the world. That's what I say. Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, cool. All right. Bye, YouTube. Thank you for hanging out with us.
yeah.
Cheers.
Thanks.